Good morning, lovelies. NaNoWriMo is right around the corner, so for today's bonus video, we're going to be talking about how to prep for it so it is less of a nightmare for all of us. This will be the start of an ongoing vlog / how to do NaNoWriMo series where I record and share my own experience with it and tips that I'm learning so we can all suffer together. So click that subscribe button so you don't miss it. If you're a NaNoWriMo veteran, tell us in the comments what your experience was like and any advice you may have for newbies like myself. Thank you! For those of you who are late to the party, I should probably answer a very important question. What is NaNoWriMo? NaNoWriMo stands for National Novel Writing Month. It started in 1999 where authors were challenged to write 50,000 words of a new novel in the month of November. For reference, 50,000 words is considered a short novel. Less than that would be a novella, just over that is where most young adult books are at. This took off and writers all over the world have been doing it every November since then. I personally have never done it, but I thought I'd give it a shot because what else am I going to do in quarantine? I have written the first draft of a novel in a single month before. I actually did that during the start of quarantine and I have been revising it ever since. So for this NaNoWriMo, I'll be working on a novel that I call Possessed. This is a young adult urban fantasy. The basic premise is that a teenage boy wakes up with no memory of the past year and finds out that he's been possessed by a demon, which made him do really crappy things, and now he has to clear his name and also prove that demons exist. I've struggled with this book a lot. Like, a ridiculous amount. This is not the first time I've tried writing this damn thing. The premise and the characters usually stay the same, at least mostly. Like sometimes it's not a demon, sometimes he did really crappy things in the past life and reincarnation is proven, so he has to make up for it in this lifetime or something like that. But I'm never happy with the world building or the genre. Like I've tried post-apocalyptic, I've tried urban fantasy before, I've tried epic fantasy. Like I honestly think that I'm just overthinking what is a very simple story. Simplicity is the name of the game here, so I'm gonna keep that as my motto for this upcoming month and just try to take another crack at it. I think I do finally have it pinned down. I'm very happy with the outline and the character sheet, so we're just gonna see how it goes. Now this leads me, of course, directly into Preptober. Preptober is the period of time where you outline, do character creation, world building notes, whatever it is that you normally do before you actually start writing the novel, you do in October before November 1st. We'll talk more about how exactly to do this in a little bit. Preptober isn't just about writing prep, it also includes clearing non-writing projects from your November calendar so you have more time to write your novel. Because writing books is really time consuming, so the more time you can make, the better. For example, let's say you have a really big project coming up in November or December even. Do as much of it as you possibly can in October, so that way it's just one less thing for you to worry about in November when you're trying to crank out 50,000 words. For me personally, this obviously includes my YouTube channel. Now, I normally create my videos a month in advance. I'm actually filming this video in September. All of my November videos, with the exception of my blog, of course, will be scripted, filmed, and edited in October. This is why my hair color changes a little bit between videos, because I also don't film them in order. I would apologize for it, except I'm not sorry. But to maximize my time and minimize my stress in November, I'm also going to be doing December's videos in October, just so I don't have to worry about them. October's going to be a little hellish for me too, but it's fine. Once you've done all of that, you can focus on outlining your novel, if you're the type of writer who does that. Pantsers, those weird mysterious creatures, can just skip this part. So how do you outline a novel? Honestly, I should just do an entire video on that, and I probably will at some point. But for now, I'm just gonna tell you how I personally do it, and obviously if you have a different method, let us know in the comments. So the way that I outline a novel is I start with the 5 most important beats of the story. Beats are turning points in the story. So like the first one is, where does the character start? Their ordinary world. What is Where are they at the start of the novel? Number 2, what is the catalyst? What is going to force them from their ordinary world to the extraordinary world, the fun stuff, the part that I actually want to write? And this can be, obviously, are they willing to do it? Are they not willing to do it, etc. Number 3, what is the midpoint? The midpoint is like the dead center of the novel, the dead center of the movie, the halfway point, and it's usually includes some sort of big scene, risky adventure, fight, whatever. In a Mission Impossible movie, it's one of the big heist scenes or infiltration scenes. In a Percy Jackson book, they're usually going down into the underworld. That's the midpoint. Number 4, darkest moment. This is usually a character death or losing a major battle. It happens about 2/3 of the way through the novel. Basically, how can I thoroughly destroy these characters without outright murdering them? What is the most precious thing that I can take away from them? And number 5, what's the climax? What's that supposed to look like? And then I just fill in the gaps from there. I use the 3-act story structure as all the beats fall into it very nicely. The ordinary world through the catalyst is Act 1. The follow through the catalyst through the darkest moment is Act 2. It's the largest, it takes up almost half the story. And the follow from the darkest moment to the end is Act 3. This is important for me to know because it helps me figure out the main points of tension and suspense in the novel. We all know that, the triangle thing where it's like the tension of a story is supposed to start here and then you go up and then it crashes down at the resolution, with the top point being the climax and that type of thing. So with the 3-act story structure, what that helps you do is that each act has one of those. So you got your start and then Act 1, and this is the catalyst, and then it ducks down a little bit, and then you got Act 2. This is like the darkest moment, the big lose, whatever, ducks in tension, and then Act 3, climax, crashes with the resolution. You can also break that down further, as each scene and each sequence of scenes also has a little one of those triangles too. But with the outlining stage, I'm not really worried about that just yet. I'm just focused on big picture right now, the big plot points, and then charting a loose route through that. I want to stress that this is an outline. It's not the book. It's flexible and it is meant to change as you write. Lord knows how many times I have created a super long, super detailed outline, like 30 pages long type of deal, and then did a complete overhaul of it as I was halfway through the novel because I realized that it's just not going to work like that, or I don't like the way these characters are acting and I want to change something fundamental about them, or whatever. And that's fine. That's the way outlines are supposed to be. This is the same with character creation sheets. With Preptober, you kind of want to get at least a general feel of who your characters are and why they're doing what they're doing. The most important part of the character creation process is motivation. Why are these characters doing what they're doing? Why don't they just hand this off to someone else, or go an easier route, or do literally anything else? Obviously, the rest of their character, personality, hobbies, life goals, relationships with the other characters, any religious beliefs, etc., all of that is also extremely important, and you should spend a little bit of time figuring that out too, but motivation is usually where I start. I get the core of it and then branch out from there. Everything else about their character outside of motivation, you can change and tinker with as you go along. I usually find that the best way to figure out what type of people my characters are is to start writing. I throw them in this weird situation and then I watch how they react. I also want to stress that this is a first draft. In the wise words of Ernest Hemingway, the first draft of anything is shit. The first draft of your favorite novel, it was shit. The first draft of a great masterpiece, it was shit. This whole thing, the end result that you're going to get on November 30th, it's going to be shit. Embrace it. It will make your writing faster and put more words in your manuscript. As a personal example, I suck at descriptions. I will think I'm putting in enough descriptions to tell my audience what the characters look like and what the setting looks like and where they're at and all this stuff, and then I'll give it to my critique partners or beta readers and they'll be like, yeah, I got no idea where I am or what the hell is going on. So rather than stress out about descriptions in the first draft now, I actually ditch them entirely. So for example, I'll write, Jamie walked into a room, and then in brackets, describe the room, and then I'll move on to what Jamie was doing in the room. This means that I am focusing entirely on plot and characters, why these characters are doing what they're doing. I'm not really focusing on like the pretty part of the story or exposition or descriptions or anything like that. I'm just focusing on what the story is at its core, and that's usually about 50,000 words. And then when I'm in the revision process and doing the second draft, then I will go back and find all those brackets that say, describe the room, describe Jamie, describe whatever, and I'll fill it out, obviously, and I'll look for every possible avenue to add descriptions because I know that that is my weak point, as well as exposition and all that other stuff. The goal of NaNoWriMo is not to create a polished gem by November 30th. The goal is to put words on the page and to get you writing. And then in later months, you turn that shit into gold. This is why I feel so bad for editors and agents in December, because so many writers don't understand this, so they send their unpolished first drafts to these editors and agents, and it's bad. Don't do that, guys. Please don't. Just don't. That is it for today. My usual Sunday videos on writing advice, tropes, gender, and SFF, those will continue on as usual. But for bonus videos, I will be documenting my first NaNoWriMo every week through the month of November, probably on either Tuesdays or Thursdays. I'll be sharing my experience and any wisdom I gain, and also asking questions of veterans that I desperately need answered. So click that subscribe button so you don't miss it. Thank you. Bye, lovelies.